Okay, let's talk now. You ready? Pay attention. This is going to be good. You lie. I couldn't wait to get back from vacation to talk about this one. Those two words shouted on the floor of the House of Representatives during the president's health care speech dominated much of the talk in the nation's capital this week. They were shouted by South Carolina Republican Congressman Joe Wilson as President Obama said his health care reform efforts would not ensure illegal immigrants.
There are also those who claim that our reform efforts would ensure illegal immigrants. This, too, is false. The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally. It's not true.
Okay, the outburst prompted some boos on the floor, and as you can see, there it is, Nancy Pelosi's House Speaker, her disbelief at that. And then you could see Joe Biden's as well. He looked over as well. Congressman Wilson apologized to the president. We'll talk about that apology, kind of. Was it really an apology? But angry Democrats want an apology to Congress. And they're threatening a resolution of disapproval early next week if he doesn't comply. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Joining me now, Florida Republican Party Chair Jim Greer, and well, I've talked to you about something else too, Jim, the school thing, and syndicated columnist David Sirota. Thank you, guys.
Great to be here.
Good to see you. Okay, so Jim, I'm watching the president's speech with my family. I was home for, I had a family member die, the entire family, both white and black in the family. And when that happened, everyone gasped, and I've gotten the same reaction from every single person I've run into in the airport, the supermarket. Everyone's like, how disrespectful of him to do that. If you don't agree with the president's policies, that's one thing. But you should respect the office.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's no doubt about it. It was wrong. It was inappropriate. It was disrespectful, as you said, to not only the president, but the chamber of the House of Representatives. But it's time that we move on. The congressman apologized immediately afterwards.
I agree with you. Now, it's an apology, but in his apology, and I don't have the quote, we may have it somewhere. We have the apology. The apology said, I was asked by the members to call the White House. Let's listen, and then we'll talk about it, Jim.
Sure.
Last night, I've heard from the leadership that they wanted me to contact the White House and state that my statements were inappropriate. I did. I'm very grateful that the White House, in talking with them, they indicated that they appreciated the call and that we needed to have a civil discussion about the health care issues, and I certainly agree with that.
Okay, I was asked by the members or the leadership to call, not, you know what, I screwed up, it was boneheaded, I'm sorry. I was asked. That wasn't really an apology.
Well, I think he issued a written apology, too, that shortly after the president spoke, and I think the written apology was more in line with what he needed to say. I'm disappointed that he talked about leadership, but regardless, Don...
Why hasn't there been a call by all the members, all the GOP saying, you know what, this is... Why haven't you denounced... Some people are defending him. How do you defend that?
Well, you know, I don't think you do defend that, but there's a discussion taking place throughout America about health care, and we need to not lose sight of what we need to be looking at, what we need to be considering. The congressman apologized. He should not have done it, but let's move on. Let's get back to the business
we're going to move
governing.
on. I agree that we should move on, but we're smart enough and big enough to talk about more than one thing at a time. We can talk about health care.
Or America needs to move on.
And I'm going to get to you. Not to worry, David, but now that I have him here, I want to talk to him about it. Okay, so he's got a campaign ad. He's raised all this money, but again, why hasn't the GOP en masse said, "Hey, why haven't you denounced this guy?"
Well, I think the reason they haven't denounced it is because he was successful. He was successful in thrusting a fake issue into the debate, the issue of immigration.
David, I want to get to Jim because Jim is a Republican, and I want to know from a Republican why not.
Well, I think, first of all, he's tapped into the frustration of many Americans.
But that still doesn't, that's an excuse.
Well, you're absolutely right.
And hang on, the reason I say that, and I talk about defending him, there are people who defend him, even all the way up to the top. Michael Steele didn't really denounce the guy. He's like, everyone keeps saying we should move on, we should move on. There's something underlying here and something wrong about this. And I think that our leaders, especially our elected leaders, they should set the example. So, by him doing that, people at the town halls feel that they have the right to do the exact same sort of thing. Let's listen to Michael Steele, and then I'll talk to you guys after this.
Sure.
It's not been embarrassing for the Republican Party, but it's been very embarrassing for the congressman. And I appreciate the congressman not doing the typical Washington move and trying to explain it or justify it. He acknowledged within 30 minutes after the speech was over that that was not an appropriate thing to say as a member of the United States Congress to the President of the United States, and he's apologized.
Okay, so what do you make of that? Can we show all the people during the speech? When the president is talking, they're on their Blackberries, I don't know, they're Twittering, they're emailing, they're holding up signs. I was floored by that. I said, these are our leaders, these are the people we're looking up to. Even when people didn't agree, many people, with former presidents, they'd sit on their hands and wouldn't applaud, but never was a behavior like this. And I'm going to get off of you, Jim. I'm not going to hold you.
Well, I'm not sure that's true, because when President Bush spoke, sometimes, Don, there was booing, there was hissing.
Absolutely.
It's not right. It's not right on either side of the aisle. The man has apologized. We don't want to draw and quarter him. We don't want to make it a political issue that has nothing to do with the health care debate.
But is that part of the problem, that you don't want to make it a political issue? It is an issue because it goes back to behavior, and it is an issue. So I think that the first thing to realizing, when you have a problem, you have to acknowledge it. And it appears that the GOP is not acknowledging that you don't do this. Yes, people, protested President Bush. Yes, he was booed when he was in Congress, especially when he tried to reform Social Security. Yes, but never behavior to this level.
Well, I don't know, Don, I'm the chairman of the fourth largest state's Republican Party. I've said it's inappropriate. I've said it's wrong. It was disrespectful to the president and the chamber. He apologized 30 minutes later.
The people who are watching,
and
to
the country. There's no doubt about that. So now that we've done that, and now that a Republican Party chairman of a state like Florida has said it was wrong and inappropriate, what more should we do? Should we get back to the discussion of health care, or should we continue to talk about a congressman who made a vocal comment that he should not have made? It was inappropriate. It was wrong. But do we keep talking about that?
Yeah.
Or do we get back talking about what families across this country are talking about, and that's health care?
Okay. I think that, and like I said, I don't mean to come after you that way, but it was just, that really got me and everyone I've been talking to. So thank you for that. I don't want to beat up on you. So I appreciate you being so candid about it. Now, I'm going to give you the last word here on this issue, Jim, and then we're going to, David, and then we're going to move on to talk about the next topic.
Well, the only thing I would say about it is that I do think it represents a coarsening of the debate. I think that the Tea Party protests, the furor, the anti-government furor, the attempt to ram really right-wing manufactured issues into the healthcare debate, immigration into the healthcare debate, for instance, that's what this is a product of. And so I think Jim is right that the decorum is less important in this than what the political effort was. The political effort was to try to ram a manufactured, right-wing framed issue into the healthcare debate, and that's really what was unacceptable.